ChatGPT John Noy. I always thought the lake was my sanctuary, tucked away on the quiet edge of Silver Pine Shores. My family's cabin had stood for over 60 years. It wasn't fancy, just a sturdy timber structure with a stone chimney and a deck that looked out over the water, like it had been waiting to welcome every sunrise since 1963. My grandfather built it with his own hands. My name's Drew Maddox, civil engineer by trade, but I'd take repairing an old porch swing over drafting a city sewer line any day. This cabin had been passed down to me, and I planned to retire here in peace. That plan went to hell the morning Victoria Lane showed up. It was 7:06, when the banging on my door started. I opened it to find her blonde bob, sharp blazer, high heels sinking into my gravel driveway. Victoria Lane, the newly appointed president of the Ridgewater Lakeside Association. Only problem: Ridgewater didn't even have an HOA. You have 48 hours to evacuate, she announced, shoving a fat manila envelope into my hands. Your structure is in violation of our newly passed safety codes and must be removed for storm mitigation. Her voice was syrupy, but laced with threat. I blinked, still in my flannel pajamas. Ma'am, you're mistaken. I've owned this property outright since my dad passed. There's no HOA jurisdiction here. Her lips curled into a tight smile. Ridgewater's emergency protocol gives us temporary control of adjacent properties for community protection. This storm's a Category 2. The shoreline is high risk. Your cabin presents a danger. Behind her, a tall man in cargo shorts, her son, apparently filmed the entire thing on his phone. Get ready to go viral. Old man, he muttered. I ignored him. Victoria, you can't just invent an HOA. Ridgewater Shores never had one. And I've seen the bylaws adjacent doesn't mean annexed. Oh, she purred. You'll want to read the new community charter. We voted it in last week. Unanimously. Who voted? I asked. I sure didn't. She ignored me, pivoting on her heel, graceful for someone wearing stilettos on wet gravel, and marched back to her SUV with a vanity plate that read LKNGRL. I watched her drive off, dust cloud trailing behind. The envelope she left behind contained 50 pages of nonsense violations for everything from non-neutral house paint to improperly aligned deck chairs. And one specific clause, unauthorized private access to Shoreline 7, now designated community use land. That hit a nerve. Later that afternoon, I saw my neighbor, Carlene, 84, and built tougher than any storm-watering already soggy tulips. Victoria's been sniffing around your property for weeks, she said. Said something about lake access being underutilized. Don't trust her. Or that son of hers. I think he's got drone footage of half the cove. The next day, trucks rolled in. A bulldozer was parked just outside my property line, and survey stakes dotted the gravel like a warning. Victoria returned with 3 men in polo shirts and clipboards. I confronted her again. You're not building anything on my land. She didn't deny it. You're resisting evacuation, she said calmly, loud enough for the clipboard crew to hear. That's a liability. If you won't move voluntarily, we'll have to proceed with eminent domain enforcement. I laughed. Eminent domain. You're not the city. You're not even legal. You're a self-declared HOA president with a printed home badge and a vendetta. Her face didn't move, but her eyes twitched. We're installing the Ridgewater Beach Club for the benefit of our members. This land is central to that project. Your members are 5 families and a Facebook group. One of the clipboard guys stepped forward. Actually, she's got 40 investors lined up. A $30 million project. A storm-resilient community hub. It all clicked. The bulldozers. The urgency. The bogus charter. It wasn't about safety. It was about profit. I spent that night combing through a battered tin box my grandfather left behind. In it, I found maps, letters, and one document that made my jaw drop. A deed from 1963. Not just for the cabin, but for 450 feet of shoreline. Signed, sealed, notarized. I had what Victoria needed to break ground, and I wasn't about to let her take it. By the next morning, her crew was already putting up a billboard, future site of Ridgewater Beach Club. I stormed out, holding the deed. You're trespassing. Victoria didn't even flinch. We verified the lot lines with our contractor. Try the county assessor. I snapped, waving the deed. This land's mine. Every inch of it. Victoria's son laughed from behind his camera. You should have sold out when you had the chance. That night, I emailed the deed and survey maps to every local news station and called Sheriff Gaines, who had been friends with my dad. They're planning to build a commercial beach club on private land, I explained. And they're doing it fast before the storm hits. The sheriff came by the next morning with 2 deputies and a county official. They examined my documents, then approached Victoria, who was mid-meeting with 2 men in suits. Ma'am, Sheriff Gaines said, we've confirmed this shoreline is privately owned by Mr. Maddox. If you continue construction, we'll be forced to issue a cease and desist and press charges for trespassing and attempted fraud. Victoria looked like someone had pulled the plug on her. One of the suited men cursed under his breath and stormed off. The other, a heavy-set guy with an accent and a Rolex, stayed behind just long enough to say, "This isn't over." By late afternoon, the crew packed up. The billboard was ripped down. The bulldozer was hauled away. Victoria's SUV didn't move for an hour. She just sat inside, staring at the lake. Then she came to my door. No cameras, no clipboard, no entourage, just her and eyes that looked human. Drew, she said, I messed up. I thought this would save me. I put everything I had into that project. My house, my savings. I needed something that was mine. You tried to steal something that was already mine. I know, she whispered. I got desperate. I wanted to shut the door in her face. But then Tyler appeared. No phone in hand for once, just looking tired. I tried to stop her. He said, "We didn't know about your grandfather's deed. You could have asked. Would you have believed me?" he asked. I didn't answer. The storm hit that night, wind howling, trees bending. My cabin held strong, just like Grandpa built it. When the road washed out and the lake began to rise, I opened my gates. Neighbors' HOA members, or not, used my land as the evacuation route. Families huddled in my cabin. I made coffee for 70 people. Kids slept on rugs. Someone found an old guitar. We made it work. Victoria came in last, soaked, shaken, humbled. I gave her a blanket and didn't say a word. The next morning, Ridgewater Shores was a mess, but no lives lost, no one hurt, just stories and perspective. That afternoon, I stood on the porch and made a decision. This land is mine. I said to the crowd that gathered, but Morrison Beach isn't just for me, it's for the community. As long as you respect it, you're welcome here. No beach club, no HOA, just neighbors. The cheers caught me off guard. So did the tears in Victoria's eyes. A year later, there's a new wooden sign, Maddox Point, shared since 1963. Tyler runs a weekend kayak rental. Victoria volunteers at the lake cleanup. And me, I still sit on that porch, coffee in hand, watching the sun rise. Some storms wash things away. Others bring them back to shore.